He's talking like he's being shipped off to Ontario Birkenau, bro. Like what's happening? Jordan B. Peterson, Lobster Man, the Crying Peterson, Incel King, as some people tried to call him, the Clean Your Room Man, the Disheveled Doctor, as I like to say. Jordan Peterson goes by many names and many aliases. The man who cut his teeth in politics and being in the spotlight by lying about Bill C-16 in Canada, saying that it will basically destroy all civil rights because it will make it illegal for you to just harass trans people at work when it was already illegal to do it. They just made an actual legal distinction for that being the case. Evil Kermit, that is true. that is true. Jordan Peterson. True. He used to work as a teacher, as a professor at a college in Canada. But after he, sparked all that drama, and he got into debates with his students about how he didn't want to use their pronouns mostly, but he would anyways, but he was still making a fuss about it because he doesn't think that the government should punish him for harassing his students and or co-workers for not using their correct pronouns, as like it would be for literally any single person if you started like specifically to harass them or to specifically get at them or get at their ideology or lifestyle or something. Call somebody who's a he, a she, or a she, a he, or something, right? He blew up into the spotlight, moved from Canada to America, works for Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Boring for the Daily Wire now, pulls in a bunch of views, is now doing YouTuber Bible study, as well as epic owns of the wokeness through his charlatan lens of trying to pretend to be a doctor and a knowledgeable in everything when he's just a psychologist who likes to read his Bible from now and again. That being said, no matter with all of these things, he is still, at the end of the day, a doctor. Dr. Jordan B. Peterson is really a doctor. It's not just like a meme title. He is actually legally a real doctor, or he may not be for much longer, but for now he is. He's a doctor of psychology. He could be a therapist, and he has had patients before, and he has done that. And so in Canada, Ontario specifically, the College of Psychologists of Ontario is a regulatory body connected to the government in Ontario that dictates the licenses, the revocation or the granting of licenses to perform therapy in Ontario as a licensed psychologist, because that's like an important thing. They want like actual people who are good at their job, who are, trained to be able to do that work, and not just random weirdos off the street that could be, problems for people who are looking for actual, wait for it, doctors, right? Jordan seemed to get himself in trouble with the board because they recently got complaints. Well, when I say recently, about a year ago, complaints about his behavior and his antics and his actions, specifically pertaining to his weirdo manic tweets on Twitter. Now, before I get into any tweets or specifically the type of conduct that Jordan has been up to on Twitter, let me tell you one thing, okay? Jordan Peterson is addicted to Twitter, all right? End of story. Period. Addicted to Twitter. This man has 42,000 tweets and retweets several hundred times a day. Okay. So as you can see here, this is his most recent tweet 7 hours ago, but like actual tweet that he's made, but he also has a pinned tweet from 21 hours ago. He retweeted these in the last 7 hours that he made a tweet, retweeted all of these as well, made another tweet again at 7 hours, 8 hours. Let me just scroll real quick for you, okay? We're just gonna scroll real quick. I'm scrolling. I'm just gonna stop randomly. Let's stop here. This is all of that scrolling now. Less than a day ago. Him being banned from Twitter was honestly the best thing that happened to him, because he actually had to go out and then do like his actual job and shit like that. You know what I mean? No, bring him back. He'll come back later. But bro's addicted to Twitter. He always tweets. He also loves posting Joker women all the time. He likes making ominous he likes making ominous posts with the Joker, with women dressed up as the Joker in it. I'm not sure if I can find one at the moment, but he does love that shit. Yeah, he hasn't done it today, unfortunately. Hate to see it, but bro's completely addicted to Twitter and it's an actual problem. He tweets every single day, all day. I actually don't know how he gets real work done. I actually am not unsure. I don't know if his wife or his daughter has to come and take and like wrench the phone from his hand for him to get anything, but he is actually addicted and it is unhealthy. He's the poster child for Twitter addiction. It's quite some insane stuff. And then right? So a while ago, he came out with this like hilarious, genuinely hilarious video where it was like all darkened and he was sitting on a chair, like a big like sort of love seat, and he was giving this ominous speech like he was addressing Gotham, and he gave an absolutely killer quote that made the rounds and completely outshadowed everything that he talked about when it came about that it was when the news dropped that he's being investigated for some of his actions pertaining to how he goes about Twitter and his thoughts pertaining to certain groups of people when he's supposed to be a doctor who could have patients, some of which could be trans or whatever, right? He said, if you remember, up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who. And it seems like we will indeed see who cancels who, because Jordan Peterson, right after that, filed a lawsuit against the College of Psychologists of Ontario, saying that they could not have him come in and take a social media course and also an insane posting course, and also and go back through some of his possible ethics violations and reteach him the ethics of what it means to be a psychologist. And it seems like the court has decided who will cancel who, and it seems like the college has canceled Jordan because the court ruled that Ontario can actually have him go through social media training because bro is genuinely insane and he actually needs it. Get fucked, Jordy. Jordy did get indeed fucked. Pretty hard too. But not as hard as he'll make it out to be. But you'll see how dramatic this drama queen is. Because I think Jordan Peterson, out of everything that we could possibly say about him, dumbass, loser, weirdo, freak, charlatan, liar, fiend, even villain or goon, or even poopy head. I think through all of that, he's a drama queen. Over all of that, he's a drama queen. Jordan Peterson has the incredible quirk, he was born with it, to take the smallest situations and blow it out into the absolute most goofy, over the top, dramatized bullshit that you ever heard in your entire life. Okay? Have you ever heard this man try to answer the question, do you believe in God? Mind you, this guy does Bible study, all right? It's actually hilarious.
To me, what do you believe in God? And I think, okay, there's a couple of mysteries in that question. What do you mean do? What do you mean you? What do you mean believe? And what do you mean God? And you say as the questioner, well, we already know what all those things mean, except belief in God. And I think, no, if we're going to get down to the fundamental brass tacks, we don't really know what any of those things mean.
So yeah, anyways. What do you mean do? Sure, Jordan. Listen, I know he's Canadian and French should be his second language or whatever. He's especially in Ontario. But like, I don't know, man. I think we all know English enough to understand what the word do means. But anyways, that's just him. What do you mean do? This man is cooked. Oh yeah, he was never going to win this shit. I mean, when I tell you bro's crazy, I'm not just saying that because I disagree with his political memes. Bro's crazy. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's crazy. He's crazy. He's crazy. An Ontario court has ruled against controversial psychologist Jordan Peterson upholding a regulatory body's order to undergo social media training or potentially lose his license or practice. In the decision released Wednesday, 3 Ontario Divisional Court judges unanimously sided with the College of Psychologists of Ontario in the case stemming from some of Peterson's continuous language and online statements. Justice Paul Shabazz, that's a cool name. Justice Paul Shabazz wrote that the college's order that Peterson undergo a program on professionalism in court statements balance its mandate to regulate the profession. It is not disciplinary, and it does not prevent Jordan Peterson from expressing himself on controversial topics. Peterson said in his statements, Peterson had said his statements were not made in his capacity as being a clinical psychologist, but instead were off-duty opinions, an argument the court rejected. Dr. Peterson sees himself functionally as a clinical psychologist in the bored public space where he claims to be helping millions of people, Shabazz wrote. Peterson cannot have it both ways. He cannot speak as a member of the regulated profession without taking responsibility for the risk and harm that flows from him speaking in that trusted capacity. And true, Jordan Peterson specifically, he mentions that he's a doctor. He mentions that he's a psychologist. That title that he holds, he uses as a baton to help point him in different directions and help give him credibility when he speaks on basically any bullshit, even though he speaks bullshit all the time. And I think that's really important for you to understand and for us to take from this, that you can't have it both ways. You can't sit here and tell me that you're a doctor and your doctor opinions matter and you help people by your doctor training, but also say that you're not working as a doctor at all when you're doing these spaces and using your doctor license to be able to get more clout and get more recognition and tell people that you're the real deal. You can't have it both ways. You are working in the profession of a doctor, even if you're not actually having patients, because the people who watch your content and listen to you talk and trust you because you're a doctor are, by all intents and purposes, your patients, brother. But he doesn't want to understand, but he doesn't want to agree with that. I don't think he understands it. I just don't think he wants to agree with it, mostly because it's mean. And mind you, are they beating him? Is he going there to get like a flogging or something? Will they flog his noggin? Does his noggin need a flogging? Maybe, but they're not doing it to him. They're not taking him there and like putting him in the pillory or something. He's not gonna be drawn and quartered. I know it's Ontario, but like they're not gonna do that. Jordan Peterson files a court case because he doesn't know that the word doctor in his name actually unironically means doctor. Crazy, ain't it? Court mandated therapy. Court said you need to go to therapy. Wild, ain't it? Absolutely peculiar how that works out. That being said, he gets shitted on in this court decision. He found the woke moralists have won this round. But the thing is, they're not even punishing him. It's not even disciplinary. They're not even telling him that he's like stupid or needs to change his ways or speak differently. They're not even telling him to speak differently. They're just saying that you need ethics training again. And honestly, it could even be routine. But he's making it out to be like they're like, if he steps 1 foot back in Ontario, they're going to fucking hang him. And the way in which he's spoken about some of this stuff, and we'll get to that in a second, but it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. At least, since at least 2018, the governing body of Ontario psychologists, which Peterson has been a registered member since 1999, despite having stopped seeing patients in 2017, has received complaints regarding Peterson's online commentary on a range of issues from gender transition to climate change. Why the fuck is a clinical psychologist talking about climate change? But okay. Specific complaints listed on the case before the divisional court included posts directed at Canadian politicians, a plus-size Sports Illustrated model, and transgendered actor Elliot Page. Last November, the college's complaints committee found Peterson may be engaging in degrading, demeaning, and unprofessional comments related to his appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, where he identified himself as a clinical psychologist and appeared to demean a former client. The college ethics code requires members to use respectful language and not engage in unjust discrimination. A complaints committee concluded that some of Peterson's comments posed moderate risk of harm to the public, including undermining public trust in the profession of psychology. And honestly, I have to agree. If I go to a goddamn therapist and then the therapist turns into a fucking YouTuber and then he starts talking about my shit that I talked about him that was supposed to be confidential to get him views on YouTube, I'm gonna feel some type of way. I hate to say it. I'm gonna feel a little jaded. I'm gonna feel a little like used. I can't lie to you. That sounds kind of insane to me. But maybe I'm just like maybe just a soy cucked woke moralist who's trying to cancel him. But I really think that if like my therapist went into the fucking Joe Rogan podcast and I noticed that he's talking about my bullshit and then made degrading comments about me and my mental state at my lowest position ever, talking to somebody who I should have the utmost trust in, my therapist, like, how in the world is that not going to look bad on other? How is that not going to look bad on other the psychologists? How's that not going to look bad on other therapists? Not only in Ontario and not only in Canada, not only in America, but in the entire world, and anybody who ever watches that. I'm going to feel some type of way about that, won't you? The idea of talking about your client's medical history like that is wild to me. But okay, whatever, I guess. Whatever, I guess. Sure. Peterson took to Twitter on Wednesday to comment on the ruling, which he said allowed continued persecution by the college. If you think that you have the right to free speech in Canada, you're delusional, he wrote. The day prior, he posted, "I stand by what I've said and done." Bro, this bro's not even really asking you to say anything different. They're just like asking you to please take an ethics course. That's it. They're just asking him to take an ethics course again. It's like retaking your driver's license, and he's acting like he's genuinely acting like they're going to burn him at the stake. Bro actually believes he's a martyr. And the craziest thing about it is that dumbass Republicans actually believe him. He looks dead there. He is. He always has been. The College of Psychologists of Ontario is committing to carrying out its mandate of protecting the public interest by regulating the practice of psychology and upholding the standards of professional conduct, it wrote. But Jordan Peterson won't be having any of that. And so that's why Jordy decided to take to his daughter's YouTube channel to air his grievances about everything in a 38-minute video that we will not be watching all of. Jordan lets it loose on the woke persecution of his epic ideology.
Despite my proclivity to feel guilt, which is quite substantive, and despite my temperamental unwillingness to engage in conflict, not only do I not see what I did wrong, I think what I've done on the public communication front is my responsibility as a clinician to tell the truth about what I see, so we'll make it public.
Okay. All right. You know, all Jordan needs now is like a small little glass of whiskey with that big ball ice cube in it, with the really clear one, and he like swirls it around you. I will say, dude, may I pretell my proclivity to usurping the order of the College of Academia of Ontario's the province, and Trudeau's dictatorial left-wing buffoonery seems to have ruffled the feathers of those in power. Like, all right, buddy, chill. Even though I seem to ameliorate all kerfuffles in my area, as the perfect boy I am, it seems like trouble always seems to find a way to find me, in my chill den here with my daughter. Hi, daughter.
Dad, nice to see you.
Hey, Mick, how you doing?
I'm not doing too bad. How are you?
Didn't this lady date like a human trafficker? Didn't this lady date Tristan Tate, who personally loves fucking 16-year-old girls, and moved to Romania so he could fuck more 16-year-old girls? Bro talks like he gets paid per word. Boss makes $1, I make a dime. That's why I talk slow on Ben Shapiro's time. No, you're right, bro. Bro talks like he gets paid per syllable. Honestly, if I'm gonna be clear with you, That's what he does. That's what he does sound like. You're right. So true. That's the truest shit I've heard in my entire life about this clown. Holy shit. I do love filling up space. All right, let's hear it.
The court that we appealed the College of Psychologists' decision to decided that the college it's within the college's purview to
regulate,
stop me from having any political opinions.
It's not. Hey, remember when we said that when we read by the court that what they were doing is not disciplinary and he's not being harmed, he literally just has to take ethics training again because he talked poorly about a client once. Remember that?
As far as I can tell, the decision, which I posted on Twitter and will post in the description of this video, starts out by making a case for the fundamental reality of freedom of speech for Canadians in Canada, and then says, but, and that's always a bad start when you're talking about freedom of speech, but apparently the college has the right to decide that I can be re-educated forcibly with the risk of my license, essentially because I made political statements that the members of the college don't agree with. And those,
I think that's crazy to me. This is wild to me. This is what I say when my man is the peak. He is the final boss of Karens. He's the final boss of drama queens. The amount of drama he's making out of this is genuinely unprecedented. They never asked him to change his political opinions. They never asked him to change his political opinions. They never asked him to do any of that shit. They just said that you need ethics training again. Bro said re-education. Bro, he's talking like he's being shipped off to Ontario Birkenau, bro. Like what's happening? They make it sound like bro's gonna be in like a black and white striped suit inside of 50-foot stone walls, like hammering out with a pickaxe, just stones and pressing license plates. Like, what are you talking about, man? Genuinely a Batman villain type fit. He is. That's what he is. He's a goofball, dude. Dad, please take a nap. In the rat cage, in the rat hole. Anybody up trying to get in my rat hole? Oh, she dated Andrew Tate? That's true. She dated Andrew? I thought it was Tristan. I'm being suppressed.
Those opinions involve two criticisms of Justin Trudeau, one criticism of his chief of staff, one criticism of an Ottawa city councillor, and then my objection on Joe Rogan to the climate apocalyptic fear-mongering that idiot tyrants are foisting on the general population. Now, apparently that makes me unprofessional and a disgrace to the profession, such that I am now going to be required, the college can go ahead with this, to put me into a re-education program with their so-called social media experts, and that's also, by the way, a profession that does not exist, until I learn my lesson, whatever that is, regardless of how much time that takes, by their judgment.
It's just like an ethics review. It's really not that hard. Actual Joker fit. He is wearing the Joker. I'm telling you, he went full Joker. I'm not memeing when I said bro went full Joker. He did. He became the Joker. He was asked to take like a 5-hour ethics course, and he became the Joker because of it. Listen, I didn't like school either, bro, but I didn't think it was this. Very real. Thank you, Marjorie. I didn't think it was this serious. Social media experts are real. That is a real profession. Yes, it is. But okay, I guess real professions are professions that I like. Fake professions are ones that I don't like. This is Peterson's version. Well, I think they sent it to him specifically, and so he released it. So this is all we got. Peterson encouraged people to commit suicide. Yo, what the fuck? Oh, my therapist said, kill yourself. All right. Hey, yo, what? Let's see. Is against every ethical standard and best practice of the U.S. National Association of Social Worker Code as is to make light of, encourage, or joke about, reference the topic of suicide in a manner. So what is this? Here's the tweet in question. I disagree. Based on the record of human behavior, we are already overpopulating the small world. Any arguments I have heard for supporting such a large human population completely overlook the huge loss of species and ecosystems resulting from our self-absorbed attention. And Jordan Peterson said, "You're free to leave at any point." He actually told someone to kill themselves on Twitter. Like, this is just a Twitter way to say kill yourself. I hope you know that. Wait, he bro, you told him to kill himself. Come on. How are you going to sit here and say like you need to be re-educated? The first gamer therapist. I love you, gamer therapist. All right then. Mr. Peterson, you're a psychiatrist, well, psychologist. You can't tell people to kill themselves because I don't think psychologists can't. If I remember correctly, a psychologist can't prescribe you medicine. I think a psychologist can write a note to a psychiatrist to tell them that you would need medicine, or they believe that you would need medicine, and then you follow up with them. But I don't think a psychologist can prescribe you medicine. I think that's the difference. I remember correctly. That's like therapists and shit like that. You need a doctorate in psychiatry to prescribe medication. Yeah, I don't think he has that. Psychiatrist has an MD. I don't think he has that, but I could be right. But I could be wrong. Okay. Yeah, he told someone to kill themselves. My doctor told me to kill myself. I read it. Go ahead and investigate. Take whatever steps you deem necessary. I am simply not going to spend hours and days required to undergo the unbelievably stressful process necessary to respond to this formally because one of the millions of people who follow me on social media took offense to one thing I said at one. You're such a baby. He's such a baby. Why are you such a drama queen, bro? Come on. What a fucking bitch. Holy shit. My mind is blown right now. Can you imagine being this much of a complete child? He released this. He thinks that this makes him look good. Can you imagine being this much of a baby to say, I know I told someone to kill themselves as a doctor, but I'm not going to spend time actually talking to you about why I don't need about why I don't need to go through ethics training because you're so below me and he's actually I want you to understand this. He's actually big timing his regulatory body as a doctor. He said, shut the fuck up. L plus ratio plus you're irrelevant. I have millions of followers. I'm rich. I don't need you to tell me what to do. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. Of course this guy needs to go train. The fact that they didn't just cut his license there is honestly astonishing. This is astonishing to me. I'm being investigated for the way that I said this, and the person I responded to, I refused to delete it. It's such things. I refuse to delete such things anymore. It takes days. It takes days of work to mount such a defense. Days? Well, it wouldn't take days to mount a defense if your thing wasn't so undefensible. You ever thought about that? If the shit that you say wasn't so indefensible, it wouldn't take days to defend it. That's just me though. 6 months until the investigation reaches its conclusion. 18 pages of background information. Anyways, he lost. The process is the punishment. Those who levy complaints, which must be investigated, know this all too well, and I'm not participating in it anymore. So Jordan Peterson, he was asked to comment, and Jordan Peterson said, fuck you, I'm not gonna comment. I have millions of followers, and I'm rich. L plus ratio plus you're irrelevant. And so he wouldn't cooperate with the investigation. So they said he needed to go in for an ethics for an ethics class, and now he's saying the ethics class itself is evil. If he just would have talked to them originally instead of cold shoulder and big timing them, then he probably wouldn't even have to go through this anymore, and they would have understood his position, and they would have been like, just chill out. But he can't. He has no chill. He has such like a victim mindset that he can't even begin to understand that he could do something even slightly objectionable, or to see what he's saying in the eyes of people who he's supposed to be helping as a doctor. He is the king of all babies. He is the baby king, the king of the babies. I've never seen someone as much of a child as this guy. It's wild to me. And anyone who considers me their enemy and thinks I'm an unethical psychologist who wants to register a complaint against me and my behavior, here's how to do it. Just use this email. Wait. Wait. He said, oh, wait, he got one complaint. And then he said, if you want to file more complaints, because he thought he was high off his own farts, and said, if you want to file more complaints, go ahead, do it here. Most people probably didn't even know that you could do it, or where he was a psychologist of, what his regulatory body was. And so he put himself on blast, and then he got all those other complaints, which 100% led to him getting needing the ethics class. And now he's complaining about it, filed a lawsuit to say that he shouldn't take it, lost, and then mounted an entire video about why everyone else is stupid. Dude, he's giggling, cackling, tittering even when he's sewing. But bro is on his knees, crying, throwing up, like dry heaving when he's reaping. It's crazy. What is this guy? Who is this guy? This is your king? This is the incel king? This is what's going. This is the guy that gets the most amount of clout on like the Daily Wire? Really? I've helped millions of people with my lectures and books, but any one person anywhere can complain to the college about anything I've done and threaten me. I did everything right and they still complained about me. I did everything right. I did nothing wrong. It was a perfect tweet. All I said was kill yourself, and all of a sudden everyone loses their minds. I did everything right and they still investigated me. I'm the chosen one. Somebody had to do it. This man obviously hasn't killed himself yet. Somebody had to do it. Okay, doctor. All right, doctor. Someone had to do it. I've helped millions of people. Millions. Oh man, interim Ottawa police chief says he's working with social services and Freedom Convoy protests to have children removed from the area prior to any sort of police action. Children removed? How exactly? Why exactly? By whom exactly? Well, why? Well, because police are going to be doing things. How? Probably by police. By who? Probably by police. To where? Probably to their families. And how long? Probably until they reach their family. Okay. This is just insanity. This is crazy to me. He got one case, and then he gave up the game, told everybody to do more shit. And so they just did. And now he has 36 complaints and he's crying about it. This is the funniest shit I've seen in my entire life. Relation to his 4-hour interview with the Jordan Peterson with the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. If I concerns with Peterson's mental health related to some of the statements he made during the interview with Joe Rogan, pointed out several statements made by Peterson in his interview, which he found concerning, provided links to articles as it appears that were tweeted at the college, which Peterson calls Jarrell's butts a prick. Brent Cadwell queried whether the post complied with the college's standards of professional conduct, and they don't. College staff spoke on an anonymous caller who shared concerns with Peterson's use of Twitter. Joe Rogan Experience, the caller said Peterson was using this to convey harmful information to the public. The caller also referenced Peterson's use of language towards the Prime Minister and Gerald Butts. that they referred to as unprofessional, embarrassing, threatening, harassing, and weird. The caller also stated that Peterson appeared to not have changed the information on the public register that reflects that he is no longer working with the University of Toronto. College staff took screenshots of the reference tweets. He still had shit there that said that he was working for the University of Toronto. That's really funny. On February, notified about the complaint, Jordan Peterson tweeted several times.
The climate apocalyptic fear-mongering that idiot tyrants are foisting on the general population. Now, apparently that makes me unprofessional and a disgrace to the profession.
So just so you know, he simply lied there. Nobody brought up anything in regards to his comments on climate. It was specifically in regards to him shitting on other professionals and also past clients that he's had. Just completely different. Completely different. Me when I lie. I'm just now seeing the outfit. What the fuck is he wearing? Jordan Peterson likes his wacky drip. He likes to dress up as like the Riddler every now and again. And it's just something that he's always done. I don't know. It's a custom suit with his name on it.
Whatever that is, regardless of how much time that takes, by their judgment, or they can take my license away. And so the court says, well, of course you have freedom of speech, Dr. Peterson, but because you're a professional,
not the candy corn
you're bound
joker.
by your professional organization. And apparently they're not bound, even though they're a government organization, fundamentally. Apparently they're not bound by that fundamental constitutional axiom. And so that shows you, all you Canadians who are listening, and everyone outside of the country who might be the least bit interested in Canada, that shows you exactly what our bloody Constitution is worth. And if Canadians are so daft that they don't think that that's a problem, well, they're going to figure it out over the next 15 years because
you're going to learn today.
No excuse for this. So that's what I'm thinking. Now, there's part of me that's thinking, well, look, Peterson, the College of Psychologists is after you. You've taken it to court. Now the judges have decided that you're wrong. Maybe you're wrong. And I think, well, I expressed political sentiment and I'm actually informed. And so for the life of me, I can't see how I'm wrong.
Is he gonna cry? I'm smart. I use Google. I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. I can't be wrong. I'm informed. I'm the smart one. I know what I'm talking about. They don't. They're wrong. I can't be wrong. He is going to cry again, isn't he?
I think I have a responsibility to say what I think, and I think many people agree with that, and I think the fundamental consequence of that around the world has been massively beneficial to people. So I think, number one, what the hell? And number two, bring it on and see what happens, because I will make absolutely every bit of this public in a way that the college and the courts can hardly even imagine. So away we go. So that's how I'm doing.
That's how you're doing. Okay, but good.
Yeah, but good. You know, I mean, I didn't.
I'm at the mercy of the evil state of Justin Trudeau, Divorce Trudeau, as I like to call him, and his evil Gestapo of rampant anti-free speech judges and an out-of-control court of Ontario College of Psychologists stifling my free speech and eating away at my freedom and destroying the Constitution of Canada. But otherwise, yeah, I'm chilling. All right, buddy. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm so fine. Everything is fine. It's actually never been more fine. That's the benzo paranoia kicking in. You think he's gonna like do one of those, like look over his shoulder real quick? I just pop a half a benzo. See me when I pop up out the window. I don't wanna fuck a single bitch, I wanna double.
Look, the court decision was worse than I thought it would be. I was already pessimistic. I figured the court would take the coward's way out and basically upbraid the college for procedural inadequacy, because one of the things the college did, which is just beyond comprehension as far as I'm concerned, is pursue these complaints that were put forward by people distributed all over the world, who then claimed in writing falsely to be my clients, when in fact they were never my clients. And not only were they not my clients, they had nothing to do with anyone who was ever a client of mine. And so I figured at least the court would say, well, you know, of course you have the right to police professionals because you're a professional governing body, but they didn't even do that. They just basically said, well, of course you have the right to freedom of speech, except when it comes to, let's say, political opinions. So
what are you what is bro what is he waffling about? Why is he lying so hard? I don't think when we were reading this, did you see them say that any of these people were potential clients? They just said that they got complaints. What are you talking about? They just got complaints. That's it. All they do is filter complaints and see if they're right or wrong, or have any merit whatsoever. And they found out that they did have some merit. What are you talking about? I did everything right, and they still reprimanded me. His daughter is crazy NPC status right now. She has Barbie lips. It's so funny. Up yours, woke moralists. It seems I've been canceled by you. Canada sending their best per usual. I'm telling you, more problems come into America from Canada than they do from south of the border. I hate to say it. It's true. If we need to close any border, it's the Canadian American one. That's the worst border. So much evil has crawled across so much evil has dripped off of the jowls of Canadian land. It needs to stop. It needed to stop a long time ago. We need to revoke all Canadians' passports and send them back where they came. Back to the trench where they've crawled from. There's something wrong. I know that there must be good Canadians out there. I've seen them, that, you know, they're good people, but I have to, you know, call it how it is, and that there just aren't enough. There aren't enough. American culture comes back to bite. It's just like, I don't know. It's like American culture drips into Canada, and then the worst of American culture drips back into America afterwards. Like we've done nothing wrong to Canada, okay? What did we do? We gave them hip hop. We gave them pizza. We gave them bagels. All right, what else did we give them? Huh? Relevancy on the world stage. We buy their maple syrup. We buy their wood. Sometimes we even buy their oil and or raw materials. And what do they give back to us? Jordan Peterson, Gavin McGinnis, the Proud Boys, Patriot Front, Lauren Chen. You hate to see it. Celine Dion, Justin Bieber, Drake. Like, when will the evil stop? When Canada sends her people, she isn't sending her best. I hate to say it. I wish it wasn't true. Say it ain't so, but it is so. Ted Cruz, you're right.
So, you know, then what right do you have at all? And, you know, it's terrible, Michaela, because
you do have the right to shut the fuck up.
I know perfectly well from talking to many physicians in particular, but also lawyers and psychologists, that no one in Canada, arguably, and this is also extremely strange, it's surreal, there's no one in Canada except me that's actually in a position to fight this, because it's...
What? He is the chosen one. He is the chosen one. Oh my gosh, he actually thinks of himself as the protagonist. I alone, throughout the heavens and the earth, I alone am the psycho one. Psycho. And throughout the heavens and the earth, I alone am the psychotic one. Bro's having another benzo break right in front of our own eyes. It means you are the, yes, it seems like you are the problem. It seems like that's what's going on, actually. That's wild.
It's hyper expensive, and I don't know if my insurance will cover it. It's hyper expensive. It's stressful. It's complex. It's time consuming. It could involve the suspension of my license. And there's not really anything that can be done to me that's a threat. I'm not serving as a clinician. I don't have a practice anymore because that became impossible, even though I love doing it. And I'm also not very happy about that. So I'm like the person who can do this. And Canadians have no idea to what degree professionals in Canada are now required not to say what they think or to lie outright. So,
man, what the hell? Okay, bro, you're not a psychologist. You're psychotic. Seek help. You are not help. You need to seek help. He has crazy ass insurance. I guess I would imagine so. With the type of problems that he gets up into, it's probably problems he gets up to is probably mad expensive. I would imagine. Crazy. Yeah, and the thing is, why do you even care? For one, why do you care? And two, you even said yourself, remember when he said that he's like going in for re-education and they're going to like do all these things to him? And then he comes out like 6 minutes into the video and says that they actually don't have any power to really reprimand me or harm me at all. And they weren't even going to be reprimanding him. They just asked him to shut up. What? Sorry, they didn't even ask him to shut up. They just told him that he needs to. They just told him that he needs ethics training again. That's it. I think that he should have gotten ethics training several times throughout his tenure, but it seems like that hasn't happened.
for example, therapists are required by law to lie about, let's say,
transgenderism,
the gender identity of minors.
Hey, the delusions always keep coming. They're so easy to read. They're like children. They're so easy to read. You see them looking at a candy bar, you know they want it. That's it. They're like dogs. It's the Pavlovian response. They see a trans girl and they start drooling. They actually can't control themselves. They genuinely can't control themselves.
And so for me, especially on the therapy side, if you're required by law and by your professional organization to lie cowardly, you're done as a therapist, because the only thing you've got as a therapist is honesty. That's it. Honesty is what's curative. So
can you tell me what in the world they were saying that's a lie to these patients that's so terrible? Mr. Doctor Man, can you provide any actual meaning to the words that you're saying?
You know, it's just part of how surreal the world is, and particularly how surreal Canada is. It's hard to fathom.
It is hard to fathom. Can I read just a couple
like
of
it's not real.
from the decision,
it's really hard
so
to
people
fathom.
have an idea of what's in here? It's linked below. People can read the entire thing. But there's parts, like this is how it begins. When individuals join a regulated profession, they do not lose their charter right to freedom of expression. At the same time, however, they take on obligations and must abide by the rules of their regulatory body that may limit their freedom of expression. That's just one sentence after another. That's how it starts.
Yeah, perfect. It's a great thing to highlight. You know, it's like, well, you're
yes, of course, yes. Okay. Yes, actually, of course. You can listen. You can say whatever you want. What they want, okay, is the classic conservative meme. All right. Conservatives don't like freedom of speech. Conservatives never cared about actual freedom of speech. What conservatives want is freedom from consequences. That's what they want. They want a child's version of the world where they can say whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want, to anyone they want, no matter what's going on, and face no consequences for anything that they say. No reprimanding, no people coming back at them, no nothing. What they want is perfect complicity from the people from those people, okay? From the entire world, from the universe. And that's it. Because what he's talking about right here is something so fundamentally simple that I think you can explain it to a 5th grader and they would get it. You can say whatever you want. Go ahead. You're not going to be flogged or drawn and quartered or hanged or burned at the stake. You know, you're not going to be sentenced to death by a starving lion in the Colosseum. But what will happen is that people have the right to not work with you anymore. They have the right to not hire you anymore. They have the right to fire you. They have the right to say you need to be if you work for someone, those people, if you sign the contract to say you abide by these rules, then you have to abide by those rules. Obviously, a doctor wouldn't get very far if he's a doctor, but he like has like anti-Jew shit all over his walls. He's like, it's on the wall. It's like, I hate Jew bad and stinky. I hate their food and their noses. And you can't, like, sure, legally, you can say that. Go ahead, you can say that. You can say it legally. The government's not going to throw you in jail. You're not going to be persecuted. But Jordan Peterson's version of persecution is simply just consequences for your actions, in the sense of he thinks that he should be able to say and do whatever he wants without any repercussions for anything that he does, because he's the pretty little princess. Okay, he is a Barbie girl, and we're all living in his world. And he's the protagonist. That's why he's the only one who can fix these things. And that's why he needs to be able to make sure that he can not only say what he wants, but never face any consequences. And these are the smallest consequences that I've ever heard in my entire life, which is simply just retake ethics class again. That's it. That's it. That's it. He wants to take it to the Supreme Court. What happened to freedom of association? Well, they don't like that. Not even, I don't think they ever really did. They like freedom of association when it comes to like racism or misogyny or xenophobia. But when it comes to them, like, no, absolutely not. They hate it. Can't stand it. They can't stand it. I want to skip forward to him saying that, him talking about the tweet that he thinks started all these issues.
And that was the tweet, I think, that really probably initiated all this, right? I tweeted about Elliot Page.
No, very clearly what started it was you telling someone to kill them. My guy is actually, he can't get the transgenders off the mind. Okay? Listen, I bet there's a really nice trans girl out there that'd be willing to go on a date with you, brother, if that's really what you're looking for. I don't know, get her like whiskey sour. Girls love whiskey sours, I heard.
And so I'm perfectly happy that I tweeted that particular tweet. And I also think in 5 years, nobody will admit that they were ever in favor of any of this, right? This is far worse than the...
In 5 years? Okay. Yeah, it's been, 2018? Yeah, it's been 5 years since 2018. Remember that? Where all this like trans, when Jordan Peterson was like cutting his teeth on like trans stuff and getting like a big American conservative following. I don't know. I feel like every 5 years, conservatives say in 5 years, everybody will think what they did in the last 5 years was cringe, but everybody knows that, but things keep going in not in their direction, and just time just keeps on moving, and they're just proven wrong time and time again, but they just won't accept it. So true. In 5 years, everybody's gonna be like, trans people, what? That's not what? What? No, of course, everybody's gonna be fine. Nothing will change. The only thing will change is that you're closer to being dead, and I have no opinions on that whatsoever.
Lobotomies of the 1930s. This is inexcusable. You know, I read one poor kid today on Twitter, detransitioner, was decrying his castration. Fancy that.
Why in the world would you? I hate the idea of calling someone a detransitioner. I don't like that term. It sounds like that, like it encapsulates their whole being or something. You know what I mean? It's like saying blacks to me. It's somebody who has detransitioned, sure.
And pointing out, for example, that, you know, he's a young guy. He has no sexual drive whatsoever. And he said, well, you know, what am I going to do? What have I lost? I can't believe I was so stupid as to have gone through with this. It's like, fair enough, kid. You probably should have woken up. But the people who facilitated that transformation, your therapists and your surgeons.
What happened to do no harm?
Yeah, right. I should.
So true, Michaela. You totally own those doctors. Oh man, somebody gets an elective surgery after going to the doctors and then goes through with it of their own accord and their own consent, and then they don't like it afterwards. So much for do no harm. What the fuck are you talking about? So much for the tolerant left. Okay. I actually don't even know what to respond to that. I genuinely don't even know what to say. Guys, what? Here, come on. Somebody in chat. There you go. Makes you respond. Because honestly, I'm flabbergasted. I don't know what to say. How do I respond to this? Go ahead. Somebody can come up with a better solution to me. Because like, I don't actually even know what to say to that idea. That's just it's so dumb. Yeah, and it's pretending that people who detransition are the majority. Like, people who detransition are so incredibly wildly low. And the people who do detransition and they've detransitioned from specifically like getting a surgery is also wildly low. Who cares? You know what? I feel you. Let's do one last meme. The re-education orders. This decision ordered to Peterson's registered member of the college authorized practice clinical psychology to complete specified continuing education or remedial program regarding profession. That's it. This is it. This is what they have him do. Educational remedial program. Specified continuing education or remedial program. Bro has to take summer school, and he's, back when I was in school, I think I did summer school once because I didn't have the best grades. I wish I had like the wherewithal to do YouTube back then, because I would have done this same thing. I would have done the same exact thing when they told me that I had to do summer school to get my diploma, that Jordan Peterson is doing right now. I can't lie to you, I would be doing the same exact thing, and it'd be really funny. I'm being persecuted for having hobbies outside of school. Oh, I didn't know this was communist China where I have to dedicate my entire life to school. Oh, my bad that I'm pushing for my goal of being a professional Smite player. Oh, woe is me for being a part of such an evil organization that is a human being who wants to do more than just go to school. Just come on, man. Be a little normal for once. But okay. This is most replayed. Let's see. What can citizens do to fight back? I want to see what this is.
Into the political arena, you'd learn to speak more fluently. You'd learn to put your arguments together. You'd learn to be more responsible. You'd take the responsibility onto yourself and strengthen yourself as a consequence. You'd keep the country on the straight and narrow, and you'd keep it free, and all sorts of opportunities would emerge for you. And so that's what you do. Now, people don't do that, and it's partly also because they're taught, oh, the whole system is so corrupt that nothing can be done about it. It's like, well, if that's the case, you're in real trouble. And if it's not the case, take advantage of the opportunity. Get out there. Do something about it. You're a citizen. It means you have some responsibility. If you're a citizen without responsibility, you're headed for slavery. Simple as that. That's how the world works. If you don't stand up for yourself, obviously the people who will exploit you will exploit you. Obviously. So I don't think it is hopeless at all. I think that the fundamental bedrock of our institutions is still solidly enough in place, although it is threatened, that we don't have to walk down this increasingly authoritarian route.
No responsibility equals slavery? I don't know. I thought slaves had a lot of responsibility. That were put on their backs. But okay. The most vague ensemble of words ever. That's just kind of what it is. That's just kind of how he speaks. This is just so ridiculous. He's such a fucking clown, dude. I don't even know how to. We rarely talk about Peterson these days, mostly because bro is so, I don't know. I really feel like he's gone so incredibly incoherent. And you're right. A lot of his shit is just bitching. He does spend a lot of his time simply just bitching. And I don't know how to respond to it because he's a lot of the times bro is actually just crying, and that's it. He's either crying or bitching while he cries, or cries while he bitches. And I just don't know how to really respond to it besides being like, okay. And a lot of the stuff that he says is just genuinely incoherent. And this time, not only is it incoherent, it's also just lies. And we can clear up those, but outside of that, it's just weird self-aggrandizing speeches about how he's the only one who can fix anything or do anything, and how everybody is like falling victim to being a sheeple, as he's the only one fighting his chains. Peterson unchained, unshackled. Okay, I guess Peterson. Sure. Have fun with your summer school, buddy. I know you'll like it. Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. If you're enjoying the content, hit the subscribe button. If you don't, it'll make Boo very sad. I know a bunch of you who are watching are not subscribed. Join the frenzy. You won't regret it. Thank you, Boo.